It's time for Pucknology. Pucknology. After dark. Oh my.
Oh my goodness, what an insane game that was. Um, you shouldn't count them out, but then again, you shouldn't count them as being,
In?
you know, in the game for that matter. Welcome to this edition of Pucknology After Dark. I am Eric Hura, also known as PetGuy14, following a 6-5 Sharks shootout loss to Calgary. If you want to be a part of the show, use the hashtag PucknologyAfterDark to ask questions or comment about the show. You can follow us on Twitter at Pucknology, at PetGuy14, at ChrisJWS, at Eric Landy, at IReadPucknology. With that out of the way, let me introduce the whole panel really quick. First, the almighty Ian Reed.
You talk sweater, Chris. I'm going to start punching people. That's what I've decided.
Okay.
It's the last thing I want to hear today.
And, well, I think somebody's going to go off in a little bit. And joining us from the South Bay, Chris JWS.
What's going on? I can't be the mighty Chris JWS. Only Ian gets that.
Well, I'm sorry. Forgive me. Forgive me for that. And well, he is almighty because he spells his name the right way. Eric Landy.
Oh my God, that was an emotional roller coaster in one game. It was just ups and downs and ups and downs. And Diavolos, no, we don't hashtag it with SJ Sharks or the game because you should be following our hashtag Pucknology After Dark. Come on, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, if we get that, we'll occasionally look and see how many people are ripping the SJ Sharks hashtag apart.
I need to also, my name needs to be in there. I'm far more important than the SJ Sharks hashtag.
Exactly. I only get so many characters. Come on.
That's right.
He is the Canadian robot after
I have a long Twitter handle.
Alright, so this is probably going to set off Ian a little bit, but I was asked about this and I was researching it, and now that this game is over, here's the breakdown of the jerseys records.
Are you
Virtual punch.
Actually, that's not even the right one. But they do finish at 0-3-2 with the Heritage jerseys. Wow, Chris was so upset about that he actually logged off. Here we go. I know. Here's the right ones that we get out of the way. 18-8-2 away. 2-0-1 in the god awful lock armor. That one overtime loss was to LA, of course. The Heritage jerseys are 0-3-2. They will probably never be worn again unless the NHL demands throwback jerseys of every team. And the home is 10-8-0. Okay. Ian, you can now kill me.
I don't know. Whatever. I'm not
Hey,
even dignifying this as a response.
Is Chris JWS's internet doing an impression of Eric's internet at this point?
Actually, oddly enough, it's my browser. Chrome is being a piece of crap tonight for some reason. It keeps crashing. Like, I don't know. I'm on Safari now, so hopefully
Google's a piece of crap. It's Google. It's all Google's fault.
Yeah, well, I was having issues trying to get onto sjsharks.com with Chrome tonight, so something's going on with your browser. Google, fix it.
Matthew York, the Heritage jersey has no rows, okay? I have no rows, I have no boats.
We'll get to more jersey talk in a little bit here, but first I'll let Ian, who had to sit through my little standings graphic, talk about the game tonight.
Obviously the ending wasn't good and the start wasn't good, but overall, I've watched crappier losses than that. I thought that was a fun hockey game for the most part. Obviously, I didn't like the outcome. Obviously, Stalock allowing 5 goals on 19 shots is absolutely ridiculous. But, all in all, it was a fun game.
Gotcha. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. This is one where you would probably use to promote the game. Almighty Chris JWS. All right, that's better for you. What are your thoughts?
That's more like it. I mean, like Ian said, we didn't love the outcome, but we have seen this resilience from this team several times this season, and I think it's definitely a thing. We've seen it enough times. They do seem to not quit when they're down. I mean, they've had bad nights where they got down, haven't been able to fight and get back up, but they aren't, we've seen plenty of times where they've phoned it in after, going down 3 goals, game over, pack it in. So it was good to see them fight back. It's good to see them salvage a point out of that horrendous start. But this just highlights the two biggest weaknesses in this team: defense and goaltender depth. Because I hope Jones is. I said the reason why they didn't pull Jones is because he's going to have to start another 28 games this season or however many we have left.
Pretty much.
Keep him fresh because, yeah, that was pretty atrocious.
That was beyond atrocious, beyond terrible, beyond anything unimaginable. Landy, good evening to you, sir. Thank you for coming on. Your thoughts tonight.
Boy, Stalock was balls. That's all I gotta say about that. No.
With that, good night, everybody.
Yeah, peace out, motherfuckers. All right. No, Couture was definitely a monster. Cody, you hit it right on the nail. You know what? The best game he's looked since coming back from the injury. I thought that was a freaking cheap shot by that Flames defenseman who hacked him on the leg, right in the screws, and you just kind of wondered, oh my God, is his ankle going to shatter? And it just goes to show you, man, that this team is a goalie injury and a defenseman injury away from collapse. Because if you have to roll out Stalock for more than a back-to-back game, God help us.
But, I mean, a lot of teams are in that boat, though. I mean, that's not, unique to the Sharks. Most teams, I mean, there's usually a significant drop-off between their starter and their backup.
I know, but
Stalock's been terrible.
But that drop-off for us is the fucking Grand Canyon, all right?
Yeah.
It just goes from, ultimate highs to... It's you know what? He's not a sound technique goaltender. And his reflexes that he relies upon, he can't rely upon them because he's not getting enough starts to get those reflexes in time. And not only that, he's added mental mistakes to his repertoire this year. So it's like you've got this trifecta of awesome things for a backup goaltender.
I don't even know who you would get, though, at this point. You're going to bring up Grosnick? I don't think you'll get much difference. I wouldn't even bring up Dell.
I think that they got to be better than Stalock at this point. I mean, he gave up 5 goals.
Oh, sure.
Plus, 3 in the shootout?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, the shootout. I don't blame a goaltender on that because the shootout is.
Dude, the team, they were down 4-1, clawed back to take the lead and couldn't hold on to it. Hello, Thomas Grice. Way to say goodbye to you, bro.
Oh, and Gen X says, dude, you're getting a Dell.
Yeah, I think we might. And it might be a little gross, if you know what I'm saying.
I like that.
Would a Dell be an upgrade over an HP?
As much as we can all throw Stalock under the bus for tonight, and I think that there's good cause for it, 5-on-3 for 2 full minutes, and you can't put the puck in the net. Rocket and I are screaming at Patty, who looks like a statue in front of the net for a good 20 seconds, just standing there. Not trying to find an open lane, not trying to find some sort of way to even get somebody to kind of follow him and chase him to open up a different lane to get the goalie to move laterally. Literally standing there for 20 seconds. It's that as much as you can throw it on stay luck for tonight. For me, the other half is not being able to score on a full 2-minute 5-on-3. That is inexcusable.
Well, on that note, because I not that I disagree with anything you just said, AJ, but at the same time, wouldn't it be a nice place to have a timeout?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
would be.
kidding.
But we had
But
to
you might
challenge that.
Challenge.
Yeah.
Like, someone take DeBoer's flag away or whatever he does to take that away from him, because like he's what, 2-12 or
15,
something
2 and
stupid.
15.
2 and 15? Wow, even better.
Wow,
Which, for
that's
the
that
record,
bad.
is a worse winning percentage than my luck with Amy. So
Oh.
Yeah, but you know what though?
I like how he puts himself down and flips us off. Like,
This is what it's gotten to.
Well, we got a Joe Thornton cheer card tonight, so that makes up for everything, right?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Before we go down spiraling into the abyss of burn Saylock, burn the defense, whatever, we do have to put into perspective that we kept pace with Anaheim and we gained a point on LA. You know what? So if we go to Mr. Kura's fancy stats page up there.
Jesus Christ.
Brought to you by United Airlines.
You've got you now
Hang
got.
on.
Oh, well, what happened?
No, the old
He's
one
having
didn't
trouble keeping it
upload.
up.
Oh. Oops.
Another
That's not what
little
she said.
So
Junior Shark.
yeah, the junior shark.
Oh wow, you guys are all fucking funny. Okay,
Yo, hosers.
there you go.
Oh yeah. All right. Now we got it. We got the good one. All right. He's at full chub now.
Well, let Amy be the decider of that.
So we got LA losing.
I don't need a blue pill or anything, so
Yeah. Cialis. So you've got Sharks behind
It's
6
called
points.
Diamond Ring, my friend.
Oh. Well. 6 points. San Jose behind LA, and then Anaheim, of course, nipping at our heels, just 1 point behind us. Games remaining. We are all tied up in California with games remaining. All 29 games left for all teams. And Vancouver leapfrogs Arizona tonight. So,
We'll see how long that lasts. Remember, we get 5 against Vancouver towards the end of the month, man. That's almost like a free 10 points.
Oh, it better be, is all I've got to say. So the Sharks, you know what? It could have been a lot worse. That could have been a 4-1 loss, and you would have had San Jose and San Jose and Anaheim tied and not make any ground on LA. So, let's put this into perspective. It sucks. It's a shitty loss. They could have won this game. They could, if they didn't have their heads so far up their asses in the first period, they wouldn't be in this position. However, not all is lost.
Okay, hold on. I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but they're calling last call, so I have to go. So with that, I'll talk to you guys later. I just want to say that for those of you who are watching, I did in fact meet the legend that is Slushy Jake, and I just want to confirm it. I met Slushy Jake tonight, and I am confirming he is even more annoying in person.
So he didn't try to get you to adopt him?
Dude, he said he'd buy me a drink if I could remember what year that drink was actually concocted and who made it and everything. I am kidding.
That poor kid.
He's
In
a very,
the 1993 Christmas party, Jamie Baker had a drink. Was it a MGD or was it a mixed drink?
No, I'm just playing. He's a very nice young man, very cordial person. He dresses like a 12-year-old, and you know what? So do I on some days. But no, very nice kid to meet, and we got to give him some better questions. But with that, boys, I will. If I make it home in 40 minutes, chances are you probably won't be on. But then again, both the Erics are here, so chances are you might be on. So I'll talk to you later.
Wow.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is the one and only AJ Strong.
And chances are he's pretty drunk.
Yeah.
Back to you, Landy.
Back to you,
Yeah,
Andy.
yeah. You know what? All I gotta say on that is fuck Hiller. Okay, that guy, he comes in stone cold, and he just robs the extra point from the Sharks. That guy, and Pecorine, man, those two are just stone cold shark killers. They
Yep.
just they have harpoons, and they're like fucking Ahab with the white whale. They just want to kill the shark, man. That's not nice. Nobody likes killing sharks.
Nobody.
Nobody. Oh my god, yeah. It's like they have Ginsu knives and they're making shark fin soup.
So a lot of questions, I mean, seems to be revolving on, obviously, why did Stalock even get this start? We had that on Twitter, and it seems like it's kind of just a recurring theme of questions that I keep seeing popping up. So I guess, we probably should tackle that. I mean, obviously, Jones has to get some rest somewhere, unfortunately. The guy's human. He has to rest. He's playing his first full season. We don't want to have him completely with an empty tank going into the playoffs. Should we make it there? And I do believe we're a playoff team. So,
Diavalos has got it right on the nail. It's Calgary. If you're gonna give Jones the night off, this is the team to do it against.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I guess we just estimated that Stalock could pull together a little bit, and I don't know why we did that, but.
Well, you'd expect him to make more saves on 19 shots than
A 77 save percentage. That's like
Right.
1980s-esque.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's like Gretzky Oilers-esque, yeah.
and it was funny because like people were coming out of the woodwork to kind of defend Stalock on Twitter, and I'm like, he has a sub 9 save percentage this year. He has an almost 3 goals per game GAA. Like, there's what's there to defend at this point? I appreciate the small sample size of it, but everyone looked at a few minutes in the NHL and ignored all the AHL numbers for.
But
Yeah, by his AHL numbers, he's going to be average or below average in the NHL.
Exactly.
But what's changed from last year to this year that has caused him to be
Very good last year either.
I mean,
He really wasn't good.
What's changed this year is he
doesn't-
has a real starter in front of him, and there's no question that he's bad.
It's the defense. Do you think the defense is worse then, or I mean, I don't get it.
No.
If anything, the defense is better.
Wasn't tonight.
We don't have
in the
the
first
to
period.
yell at.
Yeah. Hey, so quick question for you. Speaking about defense, did we see Paul Martin after that jaw hit? I don't think we did. Are we down another
No.
D-man?
No, I think it was more so than anything because of the power play. We were in the power play, and then we had that 1 minute left, and then we went to 3-on-3, which I don't believe he usually plays. So, let's hope he's okay, but hopefully that gets reviewed by the league, which I'm sure they'll let him get away with it. So.
No, that was hella Bush League. I mean, I just have no time for that crap. I really don't.
But see, here's the thing where I've mentioned it before, is you're going to have teams take these liberties because the Sharks can't capitalize on the power play. And until they can make them pay, like they did in 2013 against Vancouver, and make them play for taking dumb penalties, they're going to make these stupid calls. It's like when Raffy took out Milan in 06.
Mhm.
The Sharks couldn't do crap on the power play, and that's what costed them in the long run.
So you realize they are making them pay, though, because they're one of the best percentages in the league. Like, that's kind of ridiculous to say.
Exactly. I have to agree with Chris here. I mean, how much, what were the Sharks' percentage on the PP tonight? It was, like, what, 30% plus? I don't know how much more you could ask from that. That 5-on-3, yeah, they should have gotten a goal.
Right.
Do I kind of half expect Wall and steal that game? Yes, I do expect that. Because it's Hiller and Rene, and those two, for whatever reason, just do that. So I had that in the back of my mind. I was like, oh shit, I just wish Kari Ramo would get up and play a game. I don't want Hiller coming in, even if he is 57 minutes cold, because I knew he was going to do that.
It's not like, and that too, and on that same note too. I mean, it's like, yeah, he's coming in cold, but these guys are. I mean, they're NHL goaltenders for a reason. I realize Hiller hasn't been very good this year, but I mean, that's in their repertoire. I mean, it's not the first time we've seen a goalie come in cold and completely just play out of his mind. So I mean, as much as everyone wants to get.
Too.
Yeah, I mean, as much as everyone wants to get on the Sharks because they didn't score on the cold goalie, I mean, it's not like the Sharks are the only team that has been killed by a cold goalie in the last, quarter of a game. It's happened many times.
Yeah, and you know what? Couture was millimeters away from winning that game in overtime. So. Oh boy, it's just it just seems like the stars align when Hiller plays against the Sharks, even if he is having a shitty year. And same thing with Pecorino, man. The stars just align, and whatever unholy contract they have with whatever deity you want to call, they just have ownership papers on the Sharks. They have the pink slip to the Sharks for those games.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? And the thing is, when you score 5 goals, you should be able to win that game.
Absolutely.
If the Sharks score 5 goals, they should be winning that game 100% of the time. I'm not going to even say 99% of the time. It should be 100% of the time. If they score more than 4 goals, they should probably have that game in the bag.
I mean, you give them credit for coming back from 4-1 down. And they stayed hungry out there. Yeah, they had the fortunate part of scoring 2 power play goals in an extended 5-on-3 in the middle of the second period, and kept the momentum going in that, where they tied it up, and DeMello with a nice pass, or with a nice goal from a sweet pass to give them the lead. But you gotta stay on top of it, and Calgary wasn't letting up, and that's the thing with going into the playoffs. When you have these leads, you just can't sit on them. You can't sit on them like we did against Chicago, where we were clinging on when Chicago was coming into waves. We got to keep going and keep attacking and keep trying to add on to it. Back to you, Andy.
I'm trying to tweet at Kevin Kurz right now and see whether or not Paul Martin's doing all right, because, like I said before, that didn't look good. His jaw kind of went in all kinds of weird-ass directions. So, boy, if this team is down a top 4 defenseman, good night. Good night.
Even though I didn't think Tennyson wasn't horrific tonight, did you guys?
No, I mean, if you really want to look at when all those goals were getting scored, it wasn't because Tennyson and DeMello on the ice. That was Vlasic and Braun.
And that's scary.
Oh, Braun, that's good point. Braun had the worst game of his entire career in Teal tonight. The worst. He made so many mistakes after mistakes. Those first 2 goals, the first one where he makes a stupid up-ice pass, and the second goal where he refuses to go down and block a shot. He just does a half pirouette kind of block. Is horrible. I mean, it was the worst defense I'd seen him play in his entire career. It was so bad. Yeah, he did not have a good night tonight. And apparently it was his birthday tonight. So,
maybe hungover from last night, out drinking too late or something. I don't know.
Shoot, bench his ass then.
That's what what the Sharks need to do.
Hey, it worked for the Flames, and look how it came out.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess that was probably an anomaly. I mean, he's had so many good games. He probably bounces back. Same thing for the defense. Like, they had some bad moments and they let in 4 goals in about 6 minutes there. It's probably not going to happen again, or it won't happen again very often. And Stalock did not bail them out at any point there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you know what? When you have poor defense and a goaltender who is spotty, it's a recipe for disaster. It really is. And oh my God, it's in the grand scheme of things, it's one of those games that you don't really have to be mad at, because they did score, did get the point, and they did keep pace with everybody else. But boy, man, you see them play like this again. If they play like this against Vancouver and split the series with Vancouver, that's going to be horrible. I mean, it's going to be. Oh.
It's not even that. I think in March alone, I think 11 games. I don't have this in front of me, but if I remember from my mind, 11 games are against division rivals in March. They can't have games like this in March like that. Like it can't happen. Um, you can't be too mad at tonight because you did salvage the point when they could have just rolled over and died after the first period. So you have to take that into consideration. But I mean, you keep in this case we stole a point. But if the Sharks had played the way they did in the 2 periods that followed the first, then they would have destroyed Calgary.
Right.
Destroyed Calgary.
So they got
they own them most tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say they got 10 divisional games in March. They got 3,
10, sorry.
they have 4 against Vancouver that month, beginning and ending, and then they go to Alberta for back-to-back against Calgary and Edmonton, and they have Arizona, sandwiched between Boston and New York.
And Arizona, those are important games too.
Absolutely, they got 2 games against Arizona. They have 2 games against Edmonton. And 4 against Vancouver, and plus a home game against LA on a Monday night. Then the next night they're on the road in Vancouver. It's crazy. So and also Ron and Vlasic finished with a -2. Tennyson had 7:48 of ice time, which is the second lowest, to Zubers's 6:25. So.
Yeah,
and Tennyson got benched for like the second half of the second period there at one point.
Yeah, and Tierney didn't play much in the latter part of the third either. I just think that they kind of went to trading chances with Calgary, and they just kind of nerfed that fourth line for the last little bit. I mean, it's just you could break this down in so many different ways. The fact that the Sharks gave up those 4 goals in the first period was just completely out of character. They looked like they tiptoed into this game.
Oh, what a shock! You're still here.
And everybody else muted, so I guess it's just me and you talking.
There you go.
So how did the guys look in that first period? Did they look gassed? I mean, they just looked like they tiptoed in from TV?
No, they looked like they were out of position. They looked like they felt like, oh, we're at home. We can stand around a little bit. That's what it felt like. You don't know. You have not lived till you have watched a game next to Rocket Backhander when she is screaming at the top of her humongous lugs going, "Move your feet!"
Yeah.
And that's part of it, but let's be honest. Call it what it is, dude. Stalock let in some garbage tonight. Defense didn't really help him out so much, but Jones starts this game. Sharks probably win it. But all I know, the silver lining you can take out of this, they were down 4-1, clawed their way back, and took the lead. So that's humongous. That's awesome. But still didn't get it done, man. So.
Yeah. And that's what it's those games that are going to cost you late in the year and in the playoffs. And so they need to come and rectify it.
It could potentially cost you a home ice advantage in the first round.
Exactly.
So that's and so that's it. Live from here at the SAP Center, I'm AJ Strong. Thank you, and good night. Slushy Jake. Jesus Christ, man, go to bed.
He's not the only one that's heading to bed.
Okay, Eric, the floor is yours.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got to head out because I got to be at work at 3:30 tomorrow morning. But just want to give a quick shout out to John Butchergross, who rocked my San Jose State hockey jersey design on SportsCenter tonight. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Also, kudos to Scott Van Pelt, who thought I was looking forward to the cool, snazzy design of it all. So much appreciative as always to get some love for the design work. Uh, as always, quick mentions for the Sharks tweet up that's still on for March 5th. All discussing things with Sharks management about trying to get some things set up. They have told me that they are doing a social media night on March 28th, which I find very interesting, if you know what I mean. So AJ's BFF better give me some love and back for that sometime soon. With that, you guys take it home. I'm going to go get some shut-eye, and I'm sure that there'll be copious amounts of my winning percentage talked the rest of the way. With that, good night.
He's not ending with back to you, Landy?
Oh, sorry. Back to you, Ian.
All right, and that's Puck Guy. So I guess it's just me and you. And then there were two?
There's three of us.
No, there's no three of us anymore. It's just me and you, man. Oh, there is three of us. Oh, who's this little one right here?
This is Caleb.
Oh.
He's decided he doesn't want to sleep.
Well, there's that. A little Sharks fan in the making, I bet.
That's right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's either that or get out.
Papa doesn't love you if you don't love the Sharks.
That's right. Cheer for the Sharks or get out. Says the guy who specifically changed teams to not cheer for the same team as his father.
It's pretty funny. St. Owen, yeah, you've got it. Nailed it right on the head. Of course, Eric had to go before saying anything positive about Roy Summer and the Barracuda.
Oh, do we have to?
I guess.
All right.
What's his number now? What was the number he was trying to reach?
6 something.
Yeah, so he now ties for the most ties.
He beat it. He finally passed it. He owns the record.
He owns the record for the most wins in the AHL. Mind you, he has no Calder Cups to his name, so there is that. And let's just ask how many, grade A defensemen he
637, thank you.
637, how many grade A defensemen he developed for the San Jose Sharks.
Here's what they don't tell you. I mean, obviously 637. I mean, look, it's an accomplishment. I don't want to take in a super amount, right? But at the same time, like, this is 600 wins in what, 1,300 games? Has any of his teams ever even won a division? I mean, the guy that he passed, Buncook won like the division a bajillion times. Like, I don't have the number in front of me. And he won 7 Calder Cups. I don't even think Roy Sommer has played for a Calder Cup, let alone won one. Like, it just, and did it in like 200 less games. And it's just, yeah, it's a big deal. But Roy Sommer, kudos to him. But at the same time, like, it really, when you actually look at the numbers, it's not really that big of an accomplishment.
No, and what he must have about a 500 record.
And Richard's right. It was a different time too, and there is that. But even still, I mean, Gen X just kind of posted the numbers: 7 Calder Cups, 636 wins, and 1,175 games. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like he has like a 600 winning percentage or anything like that. We're starting to get some trickle in now from the post game. Pavelski's basically coming out and saying we battled all the way back. It's good to see some character. I
agree.
I think that's definitely a silver lining you can take out. Couture says he's starting to feel more like himself, which is really good. He had a 4-point night, and he looked like Couture of old.
Yeah.
So like I tried to steer before, it's not. There are positives you can take out of this game
for sure,
and I don't think the world is ending after this game. However, it was really disappointing.
Yep. I want to circle back to something Slushy said, because he kind of listed off some defensemen that went through, and he mentions Vlasic, Carl, Braun, Tennyson, DeMello, and Demers. I guess I mean, if we picked up another defenseman, who's the defenseman that's going to go away? It's DeMello, obviously. Vlasic never played in the AHL. I mean, he might have played a game or two.
Braun was a college.
Braun was college. He probably played he might have played a few games, maybe 20 games in the AHL, I think, before he jumped. I'll give him. I will give him Demers.
Yeah, I think Demers. You've seen the product that Tennyson is. I think really the only kind of I won't even say it's a gem right now, but the only kind of prospect of note that he's been able to develop is Dylan DeMello, and he's only started to come on the scene and is still very rough. So I mean, oh boy, Davos is saying trade Mueller. I don't know about that, but I think if you've got him subjected to any more of Sommer, then yeah, he's probably going to rot on the vine.
He's not. I don't think he's been terrible in Worcester in for the Barracuda though.
Yeah, I've heard mixed reports. I've heard that some people think he's just horrid, and then some people say he's doing okay. So.
Plus, he's got a few points.
AJ, what's up?
I'm at the bar. What's up, fuckers? I got a fucking tweet that said it was just you and Ian. I was like, oh, okay, I'll say hi to those guys. It was just like, Puck Guy and Chris. I'm like, fuck those
guys. We're the cool ones.
I'll tell you, dude, the dinner was totally worth it, man. That was some good fucking grub tonight.
Oh, yeah. You do you want to announce what you did this pregame?
Oh, shit, we're still on the air?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Oh, no, I don't want to get into that. I just say it was a very, very good night. I'll tell you guys about it later. But no, it's a very good night. You know what? Fucking John knows how to do it upright, man. That's all I'm saying, man. John knows how to do it upright. I'll give it to him for that, man. He knows how to make a guy feel welcome with some great grub and some kick-ass seats. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. Well, before he gets himself...
I don't want to throw anybody under the bus unless it's Eric, Puck Guy. Then it's like, fuck it, man. Bring more buses.
Yeah.
I'm just messing. I've had a few... oh, look at that. More beer. Okay, I got to go, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Later.
Oh, boy. And
all right.
What is it, AJ for the third time now?
I'm getting killed in the chat here, so I need to defend myself a little bit.
Okay.
My Barracuda viewing, hasn't been as much as I'd like it to be. I thought that from what I seen of him, I didn't think he was terrible, but again, it's a late night to watch the Barracuda and the Sharks for a guy who lives in the Eastern time zone. And now that Hockey Streams is gone, I can't do it anymore anyway. So that's my defense.
Yeah. So you haven't been on since the Phaneuf trade. I'd like to get your take on that and what it means for the Sharks as far as just the available crop now of defensemen. I know that you posted something on Pucknology a few days ago, so kind of want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, the thing I posted was more in line of how the Byfuglien deal kind of sets the value for Burns. But as far as the Phaneuf deal goes, I mean, look, the Sharks weren't going to be able to afford Phaneuf anyway. They would have to move a big contract the other way to make that even remotely work. I said on TTG last night that a lot of people are talking like how it's such a great hockey trade. I don't know. To me, it seems like they just wanted to dump Phaneuf. They did get some pieces back, but to me, it still just kind of screams salary dump to me, to be completely honest. I know that they didn't gain a ton of cap space, but it was still enough, and they should have. I don't know.
So, I mean, us being prospect kind of drafting guys, for me at least, I felt that prospect was maybe a B+ level. I don't think it was their number one guy.
Oh, no. But the Leafs are so loaded with prospects right now. I mean, they can afford to shed. They have a bajillion. I believe they might have the most picks going into the draft this year. I'd have to double check that, but I know they have a lot of picks. I'm going to look that up right now as I just talk out of my ass.
I meant from a Senator's perspective, because I'm just talking about what the effective cost of Phaneuf was. So you got Cowan, and you've got that B-level prospect and the second rounder. I mean, I don't even put Mahalik in there because he's kind of just an afterthought at this point.
Yeah, Mahalik. I mean, he kind of just gives them a little bit of a, just a steady forward. I misspoke on the podcast last night. He has another year on his deal, as far as I knew. Let me double check that now.
Mahalik has one extra year, yeah.
Yeah, one extra year. So, it kind of gives them some steadiness, but it's still like it's a patchwork team. That team's still going to take some time to become whatever they're trying to make it. But they wanted to get out from under that Phaneuf deal, and I think that in Ottawa, I mean, you think Canadian City and you think that they're all, super hockey crazy, but Ottawa is, a little bit lower key about it, especially compared to Toronto or a city like Montreal, for example. Like Ottawa is kind of a step down from the silliness that goes with playing in some of the larger Canadian cities, where, in Toronto or Montreal, you can't go anywhere without, people busting your balls about the game. Where Ottawa, you can kind of do that a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I think Ottawa is definitely a secondary market, and I mean, when you've got Bruce Garriock being the, the biggest critic of the team, that's not really saying all that much. I mean, so you can get away with a little bit more there. You have a little bit more anonymity. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good move for Ottawa. I thought they're getting a good player for maybe 2 years, maybe 2 or 3 years, and then that salary is going to look horrible. So in the short term, I think it's a good deal, but they're also still out of the playoffs, and they haven't really shown all that much, gusto since. I mean, look, they lost Phaneuf's first game against Detroit. They lost against Colorado tonight. Mm. And it's so, it's not paying immediate dividends, and I think that Senators team is starting to fade pretty quick here.
It's gonna be crazy, because you're gonna hear all this, like how no Canadian teams are gonna make the playoffs, and how it's like, how we're all gonna basically hang ourselves, but it couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, when they really say they don't have any Canadians, it's kind of bullshit, because half of every team is Canadian. So yeah. It's like, I never got that. It's
a TV thing. It's a TV thing, because if your team's out of it, and let's be honest, like a lot of Canadians cheer for Canadian-based teams. So if your team's out of it, they need to get you that hook that says, hey, this is why you should still care about the playoffs, other than playoff hockey. Why not, right?
But isn't it bred into you guys?
Have that this is Canada's team now. It's all media driven. It's not like, do you think a Canadians fan wants to see the Leafs hoist a cup, or vice versa? Gosh, no. Give me a break. No one wants to see that shit. I don't want to watch Vancouver skate around with a cup. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, no kidding. And it's pretty funny, because pretty much all of Canada, besides Vancouver in that 2011 series final, we're all rooting for Boston. And I hate Boston, but I was rooting for Boston. So, that's pretty bad.
I will shamefully admit I was cheering for Vancouver, because I used to, look, before I was a Sharks fan, I was a Habs fan. I can't watch Boston win a cup.
Well, I guess that's true. We all have our mortal enemies. Yeah. So let's kind of go back then to the trade market. Okay. So we've got Phaneuf's off the table, and I don't think he really was ever on the table for the Sharks. Maybe, if you could have bought low on him, if they would have gotten Toronto to take back some salary, but I think that would have required San Jose to ante up a good prospect.
And you'd have to move a contract, like a big contract. You'd have to move some guy that starts with an N, ends in an O, and I'm not going to say it because people get mad at me.
Yeah. And then you've got oh boy, he's back.
You lazy motherfucker.
And so we're talking about the trade market, AJ. So we're just exactly.
Yes, by all means. Let's get Yandel here, God damn it, because Ehrhoff would be too expensive.
You can't afford Yandel either.
Yeah, and with the injury to McDonough, you're not going to be able to pry Yandel out of there now. People have been saying Hamus, but I think that there's still some delusional staff members up in Vancouver, and I don't think they're going to wave the white flag, and I don't think they'll especially trade to San Jose either, or to LA without it being super premium prices. I don't want to touch anywhere near that. Pollock, I mean, everybody in the fancy stats community has ripped him a new asshole.
Well, that means he's perfect for the Sharks.
Yeah. So what really is out there? I mean, I was kind of surprised the Sharks didn't take a flyer on Ehrhoff, to be quite honest.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with that. Like, I understand that Ehrhoff, not exactly the greatest defenseman, and he's really declined huge. And I mean, I guess when you have that guaranteed money for the rest of your life from Buffalo, maybe you can afford to decline on the rate that he has because of that buyout. But even still, I mean, even if you rotated him in DeMello, and he makes no money, he's gone at the end of the year. It wouldn't
See
have
what
been
happens when your Uber driver doesn't know where.
Yeah, you're fading in and out, AJ. I don't know that you're.
Here.
His connection's just like, oh. Sorry, go ahead, Ian.
Oh, no, I was just saying. So I don't think I understand the apprehension of a lot of Shark fans about the pickup, but I don't think it would have been the worst thing Doug Wilson could have done. Would it have been the best thing? No, it would have been the easy thing though, because again, it's 1.5 million prorated, and then not only that, but then you have to take into consideration that you're not giving up an asset to get him. You're not giving anything up.
Exactly, and that's what I thought too. I was kind of circling around the bottom feeders, and I guess your usual suspects. You go to Columbus, you go to Toronto, Buffalo, Carolina, Winnipeg.
A lot of those teams are rebuilding. They're not just going to give you a
Exactly. No, I totally agree, and I think the guy that you probably key on in now is Feder Tootin. But you just got to wonder what Columbus wants in return. I think they're going to want a young player, a player that they can mold. They have some salary cap flexibility with, and probably NHL ready. So you're talking a Matt Nieto. God, I wouldn't do a Tomas Hertl for Tootin, but they probably would ask.
I would punch them.
Apparently, who it would. It would probably be Barclay Goodrow. They probably would ask for Goodrow. And
I wouldn't hate that because I think we have guys that can fill that role coming up. Like you have like Dylan Stowie, for example, I think, who could be Barclay Goodrow.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting with him because it's like what we're seeing in the NHL, is it what we're going to project for his NHL career, or are we projecting that he's just a super high, AHL kind of max out kind of player where he's, he could probably fill a fourth line role, but don't expect any more out of that? Or is he actually developing and kind of, a la Chris Tierney, kind of finding his game down there? So he's just a really interesting kind of player.
Yeah.
I looked into his record a little bit when we picked him up. He was an overager in Brampton when he had his best season in the O. And so, it's interesting because those overagers always post great numbers, but it's because they're a year older and they're a year bigger. Yeah. So, he wasn't known as primarily as a scorer until his last year, and so I just wonder if he's probably the guy you look at as the big chip that you have to trade.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And so, honestly, how much value does he have? What could you pry out? I don't know that you would get a Tootin for just Goodrow. I think they probably asked for Goodrow and the second. And I don't know about you, but not having a pick in the first 3 rounds
that's not good.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
Yeah, the Sharks, if they're going to trade that second, they need to make sure that they are that they're in the playoffs, man. Like it has to be. They have to basically have it mostly sewn up by the trade deadline if they're gonna move that pick. Because if you don't and you miss the playoffs and you don't have 3 picks, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah. Slushy is bringing up another name, Carpenter. You know what, Slushy? He hasn't really shown me that he's much more than a top-end AHL player. I don't think that he's NHL material. I think he's at max an AHL journeyman, AHL kind of tweener player. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Carpenter, I'd like to see. I mean, Carpenter, how long has he been pro now? Not very long, I don't think.
Well, he's 25, right?
Because
I think
25 now?
Yeah, he's a little bit older.
Yeah, no, he's where did he come from? I don't even know where Carpenter came from. Was he a college kid?
Ryan Carpenter. Let me take a look real quick.
Just drawing a blank here, and it's probably going to be because it's 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, Ryan Carpenter.
St. Owens is his 2nd season, and I trust him. College free agent. There you go.
Yep, college free agent. You went to Bowling Green University. USHL product as well. Let's see. Worcester last year had 34 points. I mean, maybe he's a Tommy Wingles-esque player because Tommy was kind of a late bloomer like that too.
Yep.
So there might be something there, but he's also 25, and forwards, that's kind of when you start to percolate. You're either there or you're not.
Yeah.
Defensemen, on the other hand, you can get away with 26, 27 until you're called up, and you could have a pretty good career. But he's right on that edge of not prospect for me, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree.
Oh, boy. Okay, well, I guess we should get to Slushy Jake's question before before his head blows up. What is the – let me think. Let me look at what he actually texted me. Okay, your one question: worst and funniest goal Alex Salok ever gave up.
Oh man, see, I'm just gonna think of the ones this year because they're just so bad. Like the funniest, I don't know if they're ever funny. I have one. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the one where he takes off his goalie mask.
Oh yes,
he takes off his own mask and tries to get the game stopped. Hey, Al, the game doesn't work like that, buddy. If you take off your own mask, the game still goes on.
Yeah, that's definitely what I completely forgot about that one. And then the worst one was probably that one where he obviously came out the game after that. He got the tripping call, and then he just did the same stupid thing again, and it won the goal. That would probably be it. Again, if he made the save with that poke check, it would have been awesome, but he didn't, so it was the worst.
I'm going to quickly run down because we haven't talked very much prospects.
Oh,
little guy.
Yep. All right.
Oh, Daddy to the rescue. Okay.
Daddy to the rescue. He knows what's going
on. So let's we'll run down the prospects real quick because we haven't done this in quite a while.
Yeah.
The Sharks, I think, are still organizationally, they're still ranked about 24th, 22nd.
Yeah, probably justifiably so. That's where I'd put them. Top of the bottom third. Yeah, they've done some good things lately, but there's plenty of work to do.
Yeah, so the guys that I'm kind of looking at to come up and take the lantern in the AHL is Dan O'Regan. I think he's got his last year in the NCAA, and then I think we'll see him get the contract extension from the Sharks because I think this kid's going to be really good. Chartier, I think, has got one more year of junior left.
This is last year.
Oh, this is his last year, so he'll definitely be up in the AHL. They were listing Jeremy Langolis. I mean, he's kind of one of those reclamation projects. Colin Blackwell and Jake Jackson. They're NCAA guys. I think they've got
got some time to go, I think.
Yeah. Let's go to left wing because the cupboard's kind of bare in the left wing side. You've got Nikita Yevloplovs, who is now in Allen, right?
Allen. I mean, the thing with Yevloplovs is that, this is again, like you said earlier about, the guy that is an overager and then tears up the league with a bunch of points because he's just, bigger. And I think that is the case there, and he couldn't really find that scoring touch so far being a turning pro.
Although I have looked at his Allen numbers, they are pretty good. I will pull him up right now. American. Because I did take a look at his stats about 2 weeks ago, and they weren't bad. So if he could find his game down there and then come back up, I mean, that would be pretty good. And it's kind of in the world of prospects, if you get sent down to what is that, the ECHL, right?
That's the ECHL, yep.
Yeah, so if you get sent down there, that's kind of the death nail for your career. I mean, it's not very often, unless you're a goaltender and you're in a really big pipeline of goalies, that you get sent down there, that you come back up again. So
is he already back up? Oh, he's already back up on the Barracuda. I didn't see that.
Oh, Yellow Paws is back up on the Barracuda. Awesome. Yeah, right. Because that's
some of the worst.
That's really not a good thing if he's buried down there. So I'm glad that he's back up. On right wing, we're actually doing pretty good. You've got Timo Meier, who is going to be a stud prospect.
I think I'm pretty high on Timo Meier. I know some people aren't, but the Sharks probably could have made a better pick with that pick, I think. But I do like him.
I agree. Kevin LeBlanc is the guy that I think is going to light it up. I think
he could threaten for a roster spot next year on the Sharks, I think.
I think so too. And the reason why is the year that
Rantanen, Barzal, I mean, there's a couple of guys they could have taken there.
Yeah, Rantanen or Barzal, exactly. Slushy, we asked your question. It was the goalie mask goalie mask fiasco. Okay, so rewind about 2.5 minutes ago. Okay, we already asked the damn question. So yeah, I mean, LeBlanc, his first year, I think he was with I think he was with McJesus. Wasn't he on this on the No, he wasn't on the Otters?
I don't think so. I think he's always been in Barrie. Yeah.
Barrie, yeah, that's right, the Colts.
Really?
What? This is Prospect Corner with Ian and Eric, all right?
Yeah, we've taken over.
God. Okay, hold on. Let me hit the little thing. Okay, I'll turn off my camera and I'll turn my mic and I'll just sit here and enjoy.
And now Elite Prospects doesn't want to come up, so what good is that? Yeah, Kevin LeBlanc is a guy that you guys should all keep your eye out. Noah Rod has been doing pretty well this year as well.
He's been okay. His point totals aren't anything to write home about this year. I think I looked this up yesterday.
But he's playing against men, though, and he's in this Swiss Elite, right?
Yes, and he looked really good in the World Juniors. I thought he looked probably better than Timo Meier in the World Juniors, to be completely honest.
So St. Owen is saying LeBlanc.
LeBlanc, yeah.
LeBlanc. Okay, that's what I thought. Schoborn, I think, is the guy that really dropped off for me. Alex Schoborn.
Who is this? LeBlanc? Matt LeBlanc?
LeBlanc.
The guy from Friends?
No.
Kevin.
Okay.
Kevin LeBlanc. He's actually an American player that went up to Barrie to play in the Canadian Junior.
You know what? I have a bunch of numbers here somewhere. Give me a second.
Has he ever played for Roy Sommer, or does he actually?
Not yet, no. No, he's still a junior.
He hasn't been touched by the grace that is Roy Sommer.
So he has hope in hell. Okay.
He does have hope. He was saying that we think he might be a guy that could make the jump from junior to the Sharks roster, which doesn't happen very often. But man, I mean, he's a damn good player.
So Noah Rod, I said he hadn't put up very many points. He's in 39 games. He's only put up 7 goals and 6 assists. But here's the thing with Noah Rod is that wasn't really when he was. Most scouts said that really it wasn't his high upside for an offensive game that you would like. It's more the relentless forechecking, the working in the corners and stuff. Like, he's going to be a guy that's going to make things happen in the dirty places.
Yeah, he's definitely a grinder. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He's definitely a Tommy Wingles esque kind of player, kind of in that Ryan Carpenter mold as well. But I think he's got maybe a little more skill, a little more sneaky skill than either of those two. Going back to Kevin LeBlanc, Barry last year, he had 107 points in 68 games. Now that's pretty crazy, but he had most of those points on the power play.
Yes.
This year, he's got 49 games. The kid has 98 points. So he's looking probably at a 130 kind of clip in Barry, and he's driving the ship there. And most of those, well, let's say like half of those are our 5-on-5. So
his special teams goals he has, but at least when I took these numbers down, he had 2 power play goals and 7 shorties.
So that's nuts. This kid, I think he's going to be that super sneaky pickup, and I don't think that he's going to fizzle out. I think he's just going to go straight from junior to the Sharks. Slushy, damn it, we answered the question, dude. Why are you berating us? I think that kind of goes over pretty much the prospects and note. I mean, you've got a couple of you got one Russian. Emil Galimov. I don't think he's coming over.
Sadawi is another one that I would mention off the top here. He's currently playing with LeBlanc on Barry.
Dude, Ian has been on the Sadawi train for a very long time.
Oh, we both have. We both saw him preseason.
He punched a guy in the face after shooting a shootout goal. I mean, how can you go wrong?
You said Stalock was going to start tonight because you said it on PAD, and we saw no proof of that.
And you guys noticed how I didn't go over very many defensive prospects because we
don't have any.
Yeah, I think of note you've got Jeremy Waugh, who is still 2 years. So
2 years away, and he's had he's had some injury trouble this year. I was kind of surprised that, the injury didn't help, but he had a good start, and then he kind of just fizzled out to the point where I thought he was going to be a lock to be on Team Canada for the World Junior Tournament, and he didn't even make the team.
There you go. That's Roy Sumner.
No,
it has nothing to do with Roy Sumner.
I know. I'm just saying, dude. The Sharks have this long and historic journey of just not being able to draft and develop defensemen since Mark-Edward Vlasic, who they got as part of the, they wouldn't have even had that pick if not for Kiprusoff. And there's a decent contingent of people out there that still think that was a bad move, that Kiprusoff would have been the better goaltender to keep when that happened. But either way, you go back and you look, Vlasic, that's it. I mean, and of course I'm discussing the top 3 or 4 rounds. It's nice when you can get a Braun in the 6th round or Demers in the 7th round. That's all well and good. Mm-hmm. But the problem is you can't draft and develop top level defensemen. And so you have to bring in people like Dylan or Burns or whatever, and then you end up overpaying them. Or, Burns maybe not being an overpayment, but Martin, a lot of people would consider that a slight overpayment. Dylan, a slight overpayment. The thing being is that it's, and this will drive Gen X crazy, but you need to develop that blue line like the San Francisco Giants have developed their infield. Homegrown, baby.
Yeah.
And those are essentially the positions that you need to be homegrown that you bring up and develop. You can buy and trade your way to an outfield. But to be able to bring up an entire infield as homegrown guys is huge. Could you imagine what the Sharks' blue line would be if just a couple of these guys panned out, whether it was Doherty or Petrecki or Wren any of the
Yeah. No,
what a difference.
I think we're looking at two different but yet equal problems. I think number one, when was the last time you saw this team draft a stud defenseman? I mean, like
Never.
really have a draft where they hit a home run on a prospect.
Never.
And so that's problem A. Problem B is then taking, let's say, a C to B level prospect and having him jump to the NHL. And of my mind, I mean, you've got DeMello, Demers. At this point, I don't think that we can say Tennyson is of any value.
No. But I will give it up. DeMello had a hell of a game tonight.
Yeah, he did. But I'm saying that's two defensemen in how many years?
Yeah.
So
it's not like I'm counting, big money on DeMello. He's a good sixth replacement to have.
Definitely. I think, he's kind of that prototypical sixth D man. So now you have a prospect in Marco Mueller, who at the beginning of his kind of journey after the draft, we would say he's probably on the track to be an A-, B+ kind of prospect. And now going through Sommer's gifted touch, I think he's probably regressed to a C level at this point, and that's being polite.
I'm not putting that on Sommer. I'm putting that on Doug Wilson because he should have got sent back to junior.
Yes, no, abso-fucking-lutely. And the more that I consider about it, because I've talked to some people that have been going regularly to the Barracuda game. I talked to a couple people tonight, and they're all talking about that Mueller has actually regressed, just as Ian has said. How many times, and it just goes to point out that there's been so many times, even before the Doug Wilson era, that the Sharks have tried to bring up players too fast, whether it's Pat Falloon, whether it's Jeff Friesen, whether it's Mike Rathje, whoever you want to throw out there. There are a good handful of guys that they've tried to bring up too fast, and they've ended up paying the price for it, whereas you look at a system that Detroit has,
or Nashville.
That they let guys marinate.
Let me jump in here for a second though too.
No, fuck you, Canadian.
No, I just want to point out though, but the minor league team, like the AHL team, has always been an afterthought to this franchise.
Absolutely.
And the problem is that you would stick a player down there. You kind of had no choice but stick a player to bring a player up, because if you stuck him down there, he's going to have no one to play with, because they just basically cobbled together whatever they could cobble together with a pair of scissors and duct tape, and then they'd put a team together, and that was their AHL team, and maybe they'd put a prospect or two down there, but they had nothing to play with down there, and I think that's part of the problem too.
Yeah. I mean, you look at how many AHL level contracts, not entry level deals, not out of your draft year deal, but how many pure AHL contracts they have on that team. I'm saying it's probably in the upper third. So pure AHL journeymen that they go out and sign. And that's no way to run a farm system. You need to be at least at 50-50 between AHL contracts and guys that you have draft control over. And I don't think that this franchise has ever put a premium on drafting and development. As much as Doug Wilson wants to say, we have this guy homegrown or this guy homegrown. But really, I mean, how many players have played over 100 AHL games and come up and contributed meaningfully to the San Jose Sharks?
No, they've always missed. They've always skipped the AHL. All the guys. Couture, Pavelski, they never spent that much time in the AHL. Couture played maybe 30 games in the AHL.
And a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
In the AHL. And that's the MO. They all have a cup of coffee and then they come up.
And the thing is, as I was saying, they got lucky with Pavelski where he was drafted. Let's be honest. Has there been like a more stellar draft pick for the Sharks than Pavelski, considering what he is to what he has meant to the Sharks since he's come up and what he is now, when you consider where he was taken in the draft?
It's not, okay, everybody likes to say Pavelski, but I think the bigger grab, the bigger heist in the draft that the Sharks had ever made had to be of getting Nabokov. He was in the last round in, God, when they were doing 9 rounds or something like that.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about, you know, guys that aren't in net, you know. So I'm just, when you consider what Pavelski brings to the team, what he's brought to the team since he's been up, and
of skaters, yes, I will give him.
Fantastic, but and we've discussed this before on PAD, is the fact that Wilson will hit a home run once in such a great while that his batting average needs to be better. You can look at the draft for Pavelski, and not that Wilson was directly responsible for that. There's obviously the scouting department and everything, but it's the things that you look at when you trade Desjardins for Ben Smith, and then a year later he's fucking sent down. So you basically traded a good fourth line center for nothing, or
okay,
but Ty McGinn thing, or the Jamie McGinn trade. I mean, it's just the fact that the first 5 or 6 years that Wilson was the GM, he did a pretty good job. He was batting over 500, especially with the way the Thornton deal worked out. But if you looked at what he's done the last 3-4 years, you'd be hard pressed to find any Sharks fan who would agree with, with the exception of like getting rid of Klo and Murray and getting back what they got. Yeah, that was great. But then you turn around and you look at Desjardins for Smith, or you look at the time trading a third rounder for McGinn, trading Jamie McGinn for Winnick and
Gagliardi.
Gagliardi, who don't even end up being part of the big picture. So if you're going to make a trade like that, that's fine, but make sure that they're part of the big picture. And I'm still wondering what that picture is, especially when you look at some of the picks that they've given up.
Gen X puts a really
fuck that guy.
Gen X puts a really good comment in there. We got to remember that the year Pavelski was drafted was the year that Dean Lombardi was let go. So
what a fucking shock.
Exactly. So we've got to wonder how many of the notes that Dean Lombardi took on that draft class kind of got passed up to Doug Wilson, because we all know that when a GM takes over, normally it's a year or two before he kind of installs his own scouting staff. And I think Tim Burke was even here during Lombardi's run, was he not?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that either. But no, he does make a really good point about that. So it just goes on to show that it just proves the point more that Wilson, under the Wilson era, drafts have been, for the most part, shit when you consider what could have been had.
And yes, yes, Tim Burke was the director of scouting. He's been in that position 16 years.
Yeah, so for the most part, the drafts, he's not batting over 500. I mean, if you're going to have 8 picks, I would hope that 2 of them can make it to the NHL, and maybe a third one is going to be able to contribute to your minor league system and maybe jump up. You know, like we said, you're going to get lucky on a Jason Demers or a Joe Pavelski, and you would hope that
which is all that is.
Huh?
Yeah, which is all that is.
Yeah,
you're getting lucky on that. But when you look just looking at rounds under Wilson, and you obviously have to throw in all the times that he's fucking chased a rental, where it was Bill Guerin or Billy Campbell or whoever, that he's chased after a rental, wasn't able to re-sign them, to make them any part of the team for any stretch, basically giving away the cupboard, because we all know 5, 6, 7 years ago that the Sharks' cupboard was like ranked dead last, and it's taken them a lot to get that back up.
But a lot of teams that that are consistently contending have the same issue. It's not like
Agreed.
the Sharks were alone in that.
But
The only
the problem
the only freak is Detroit.
The problem is that those teams, they have a better scouting department.
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned Detroit though, but I mean, honestly, it caught up to Detroit eventually too. I mean, could honestly consider Detroit a Stanley Cup contender in the last 5 years? I don't.
No,
but
they have been consistent.
Is that they're bringing up quality guy. You look at a guy like, okay, when was the last time the Sharks brought up a player who within a season made it to the fucking All-Star game?
But Dylan Larkin
is a fucking stud.
Yeah, but he only had a cup of coffee in Grand Rapids. He was a first year Grand Rapids baby, and then he made the jump up.
Where was he taken in the draft?
First round.
He was their first round, and he was like,
where
what?
was that first round?
17?
Are we talking 22nd or are we talking third?
Oh, we're talking
16, 17, right?
Yeah, I think. Give me a second here.
Okay, then. So you got to be pissed off at the 10 teams, the guys between 5 and 15 above them that didn't take
15th overall.
15th overall, and St. Owen is saying that Larkin never played in Grand Rapids. So there you go.
But either way, it still comes down. It still comes down to a fact. Let's call it what it is. It still comes down to the fact that the Sharks, over the course of their entire history, whether it was Lombardi, whether it was Wilson, have an incredible history of not being able to draft and develop defensemen properly. That's just what it has been since the franchise has come into the league. Whether it was bringing up Rathje too soon, whether it was bringing up somebody else too soon, it's just a case of they cannot pick defensemen in the draft, and you would figure that when the general manager, who has had the fucking the punch card to make a move, and he's a former all-star defenseman, and he still has a problem with bringing. I mean, over the course of his tenure, aside from Dan Boyle, what has been his marquee pull on the blue line?
Well, let me stop you right there, because for one thing.
No, fuck you.
No. For one thing.
No.
Wayne Gretzky was the greatest player to ever play the fucking game, and he was a terrible coach. Being a good player doesn't necessarily translate to.
And just to go over how the draft is so freaky, Gretzky was never drafted.
That's true.
He was never drafted.
Well, it's because of the WHL and everything.
Yeah,
that fucking guy was an anomaly. What are you gonna do?
So okay,
but I'm still saying you got to be able to bat a little better than 500 in the draft. If you're gonna take 8 players, you're hoping that 2 are gonna be there minimum. And there's been just so many times where a draft was essentially, and when I say 2 minimum, I'm talking an impact player. Somebody's going to crack the top 6. Somebody's going to crack the top 4 on the blue line. And we've just seen it time and time again.
I think if you're saying you get 2 impact players in a draft when you have 7 picks,
No. I'm saying the 2 guys out of a round of 7 or 8, at least 2 guys that make the NHL. You're hoping that at least one can crack the top 6 or the top 4 on the blue line. That's all. And then you're hoping that other guy that's taken in the 2nd or 3rd round is able to be a contributor, whether it's a kind of a Tierney guy and now give it up to him. Tierney, for most people, I think, has exceeded expectations. And let's be honest, at this point, I swear to God, dude, I would fucking flip Marleau and Tierney right now.
Yeah, no,
Tierney is just bringing it. That was totally one of the things I noticed tonight. The guy's constantly moving his feet. He's constantly trying to make things happen, and yet he's.
Okay. All right. So let's.
Carlson is anything bad, but it's like let's see him with some seasoned talent around him. I think he could be, he could be the guy that does replace Marlowe and trade Marlowe this offseason.
Hey, Gen X, it was my first. Yeah, no. Let's going over the draft, and I think this is a perfect segue for our last topic. And we'll go up to backup goalies. I think right now this team has an issue drafting or developing goalies. And now you've got your
Warren Strelo passed away.
Since Warren Strelo passed away, exactly. So now that begs the question: does this team need to go out and make a semi trade for a fringe goalie now? Because Nick Stalock can't be trusted for anything. I mean, do you go out and do you try and go to who's got like multiple goalies, like Carolina? Do you try and
Anaheim.
Anaheim? Do you try and say, hey, look, I got a 7th round pick, I need a backup goalie? Do we need? Have we come to that point, or do we think that Dell or Grosnick have any kind of opportunity to make an impact up here?
I feel like
they need to find a journeyman.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if Pavlik's an interesting name. I don't know if the Jets would give up Pavlik because there's still a
scintilla of hope that he's going to come around, and I don't like his contract.
He's injured too.
I have 2 words for you: Peter Budaj.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. I mean,
Yeah.
I think
I'm telling you.
Yeah, LA won't part with Budaj though. Yeah, that's totally correct. I don't think LA would at this point after the whole Martin Jones caper. I don't think that they're in any mood to talk to the Sharks.
And I don't know if the Ducks give us Skidova.
It depends on what the Sharks are willing to give up for it. You have to realize LA they're in fucking win now mode. They are willing to do some shit to try to get that 3rd ring on their finger over the last 6 years.
But they have no cap space.
They have no cap space, and why would they give the team that's directly behind them an edge on anything? They won't. We're 6 points behind LA. Do you think they're really going to help out? Hell, they probably want Stalock to start more at this point. So you've got to go outside. I think you probably got to go outside the conference because I don't see anybody in the West trading with the Sharks.
What's Eddie Lack doing?
Yeah, what's Eddie Lack doing?
Well, yeah. I mean, Vancouver's in full rebuild mode. They're willing to give up the fucking house.
Yeah, but you know how Vancouver is. They don't play nice with anybody in the division. They'd rather suck and not see the carrot and
burn down their city.
Exactly, than fucking give themselves a fighting chance for a crapshoot pick.
Well, yeah, but you do realize though that no matter what, if the Sharks were to make a deal with Vancouver, of course, whoever the Sharks gave to Vancouver would automatically get a no trade clause because that's how Vancouver rolls, baby.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we got to call this a show.
Yeah, I need to put this guy to bed.
The little one needs to go to bed.
3.5 hours later.
AJ needs to go to bed. Somebody needs to put AJ to bed.
Fuck you, I do not. But okay.
For the entire Pucknology crew, we thank you for hanging in there for a late night edition. It is now 12, and it's now Friday, so I got to get to bed. But please subscribe down below. It helps us out. And you know what? We'll see what happens with the Coyotes. But let's hope that the Sharks have a better defensive effort. And they need the points in division badly because they've got those Ducks.
Especially in that game.
Yep. They've got those Ducks nipping at the heels. And you know what? Anytime you can make up some points on LA is good in my book. So it's going to be important. Let's go Sharks. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for hanging in there with us. We will see you after the Coyotes game.
All the PIDs.
Good night, all.